I don't know right now if I win this tournament. I don't know. But if I win this event, I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry, definitely, absolutely, I'm gonna cry.
Final match of the session will be watched by Ted Lerner and Michael McMullen.
Thanks very much, Tom. So Lu Hai Tao is the 5th man through to the quarterfinals of the US Open. And I'm sure he'll be keeping an eye on this next match because his quarterfinal opponent will be the winner of this one, Chang Yulong of Taipei and Jeffrey Ignacio of the Philippines. Ted, how do you see this one shaping up?
What a wonderful matchup this is. And between two of Asia's best. Chang Yulong certainly has the credentials to prove that he is one of the best over the last 5 years in Asia. Former WPA #1, won the China Open, which is considered a major in this sport, in 2010 and in 2014. Was also a semi-finalist at the 2014 World 8-Ball Champion, rather 2015 World 9-Ball Championship, sorry. And then won the World Cup of Pool with Ko Pin Yi, the doubles event of Matchroom, that very same year. So he has got some pedigree. And Jeffrey Ignacio, well, he is one of the young rising stars in the Philippines. There's a crop of them coming up now, and a lot has been expected of him. He's a very exciting player. And I heard somebody yesterday when he won his match to get into the final 16, one of the Filipino fans said, he's the next Efrem Bata. Well, that remains to be seen if he's the next Efrem Reyes, but that's how Filipino fans think of him. But it'll be Chang Yulong on the first break.
And it will be a dry break. Last match then of a day which has brought matches of different sorts. A couple of runaways earlier on for Joshua Filler and Francisco Sanchez-Ruiz. Since then, we've had 3 very tight ones in a row. Lots of drama, twists and turns, great recoveries.
Well, how about that? Lu Hai Tao coming back from 6-1 down and 9-6 down to win it 11-9. Boy, we often talk about players who are grinders who can go down into the trenches and just fight it out. He is as good as it gets when it comes to tough matches. Wow, Lu Hai Tao, what a player.
And he became the 2nd Asian through to the quarterfinals. This match, obviously, will produce the 3rd. 2 Asians, 2 Europeans, and, of course, 1 player from Canada among the 5 through so far. Pagulayan's winner over Loisius Yap. For me, that's the match of the day so far.
That was a lot of fun, that match, and as Pagulayan's matches usually are. Now, this was a push out by Ignacio, and Chang gives it back. So Ignacio will have to shoot at the 1, and that is a poor way to start.
Hold the clock, please.
A scratch.
Start the clock, please.
So that is ball in hand for Chang Yulong.
Yeah, and as we know, 95% of the time, ball in hand at this level means end of rack. Comes in good form. Semi-finalist in the WPA Players Championship last week. And you were at that event, Ted.
Yes, at the Players Championship last week. That was also an event in the... This was funny because we're watching a Philippines versus Taiwan match here in our final 16. The final 4 of that one was 2 Philippine versus Taiwan matchups, and the final was a Philippine versus Taiwan matchup. You think they produce any good players out of those 2 countries?
Yeah, pool massive in those countries. They're certainly doing much better than the home contingent, who only managed to get one player through to the 16-man single elimination stage, Shane Van Boening, who will be seen tomorrow, but he's got a tough match against Wu Jiaxing.
So this is a connect the dots route for Chang Yulong. He's known in Taiwan as the Flying Dragon. And if you watch him play for a little while, you'll start to pick up the reason why he has that nickname. He's a very daring player. He tends to take on shots that other players wouldn't even attempt.
And that's something that always pleases the crowd. So Ignacio scratched there. Chang Yulong always looked likely to run out from that position, and he did. So he leads 1-0. So as we were saying, this is the last match of the day. Still 2 last 16 matches to come tomorrow. Su Jian of Taipei as well to play Wang Can of China. And then Wu Jiaxing, as I say, facing Shane Van Boening, who's bidding to win an unprecedented 6th US Open title. Shares the record on 5 with Earl Strickland. And that was the scratch that effectively decided that opening rack.
So a very good move, tactical move on the part of Chang Yulong, and giving that push out back to Jeffrey Ignacio.
Mr. Chang is breaking.
But that's a dry break. Nothing down, but just at the last second, the one ball gets covered.
Yeah, that's twice he's broken out. He's come up dry both times, and that's going to be a little cause for concern if that continues. We know how important the break is at this level of 9-ball. Really got to be getting something off the break. Very high percentage of the time.
Push out.
So he cannot see the one, so he calls yet another push out.
So Chang, it is your option.
Two-time winner of the China Open, as you alluded to earlier, Ted.
Well, that is an amazing accomplishment. I believe he's the only player to win it 2 times.
Well, the second time he won it, the man he beat in the final was Jeffrey Ignacio.
How about that? So this is a replay of the 2014 China Open final. And that was a close one. It was 11-9 for Chang Yulong.
Chang Yulong came straight through the winner's side, so he's won 5 matches to get to this stage.
It's a very dangerous opponent for Jeffrey Ignacio. When Chang Yulong is on his game, he's one of the best in the world. But he misses that. And he happens to marry that one up against the 7.
Yeah, I think the balls were too close together for the combination to be on, so he's gone for the safety.
Very well done safety there. Look at that. He was able to get that cue ball right in between that 4 and 9.
Not a bad reply at all.
Excellent.
Decent quality safety exchange here early on.
So Jeffrey will pull out the short stick. As you can see, that was a really good safety. There's an entire wall of balls that would sort of stop the normal angles. So he's been forced to jump. And now he has left that on. That's always the problem when you have to jump on a long shot like that. Not only is it very difficult to make it, very hard to judge where everything is going to end up. In this case, it ended up open for Chang Yulong. Yeah, but now he has hooked himself. But there is a bit of insurance. Looks like the 4 ball is tied up now. So he won't be too upset about giving up the table.
And be upset if he scratches. No, he's okay. But, having said that, he's left a chance at a pot here.
He was affected by the cueing. He had to cue over those 2 balls and couldn't get a proper hit. That's a lovely shot. And look at this. Oh, he very nearly broke up the 4-5 cluster there.
Yeah, and that's the problem, isn't it? He's got perfect position on the 3, but really some sorting out to be done if he's to have a chance at the 4 to follow.
So it must be noted, when you hit the object ball, it must hit a rail. Something must hit a rail after contact. Otherwise, it's a foul.
Yeah, which certainly makes for a much more open, free-flowing game. Oh, now that's inventive, using the jaw to come back and catch the 4.
Clever shot. Instead of having to bring it down table and potentially fouling, he uses the little point of the pocket. Watch this.
Yeah, that's fantastic even to think of using the jaw like that. And just as impressive to pull it off.
And he left Chang Yulong frozen to the rail. So he was forced after contact he had to hit that, because you can't just nestle the cue ball up against the object ball if it's frozen to the rail. That would be a foul. So now the table is open. And if he can pot this and get position on the 5, that will be, can look back and at that little safety shot he just played. Wow, he did not have an angle on that.
Certainly like to have another look at that.
Wow, going for the bank, I guess, because he wanted that position on the 5. That's a tough shot. Oh. Nice job getting up above the 5 ball.
So it's been a long drawn-out affair, this second rack, but it looks as though it's going the way of Chang Yulong.
No, he's not happy with that. Well, he may have slightly gotten away with it, but that was fraught with danger.
And this isn't without its own pitfalls.
He is. See what I mean about how he is kind of a daring player? He just gets up and hits that. That's a tough shot. And this, how about this shot here off the rail? This is no gimme.
No guarantee whatsoever, but it's for a 2-0 lead.
No. He ran out of luck. Well, and obviously the shot that started him down the slippery slope was poor position on the 8. No excuse for that. He had a wide open table.
Yeah, played a decent shot to recover the situation, but still needed another good pot in the 9. And as you can see, he wasn't able to find it. It was some way out, actually. Still almost dropped in, did its best to get there. But once he'd missed it, it was the simplest of chances for Ignacio to open his account and level up 1-1.
Jeffrey Ignacio, 26 years old, lives in Quezon City, which is part of Metro Manila. He has a wife and kids. A lot has been expected of him since he got on the scene with that finals appearance against Chang at the China Open. He's had some success, but to be honest, there's not really a lot of opportunity in the Philippines these days as far as tournaments go.
Why is that, Ted?
Well, you know, like in a lot of places, sometimes sport is a victim of politics, and sponsors don't like politics. So 12 years ago, when Matchroom here was in the Philippines, it was the center of the pool universe. But these days, it's really slim pickings for the players, and I feel sorry for a lot of the Filipino players because they get no backing from the government, and they have to find their own way over here. That's why when I see a guy like Jeffrey Ignacio succeeding on this kind of stage, it's just something I admire very much, because it's very hard. It's a hard life.
So Ignacio has the first successful break in terms of a ball going down, but no position. I think to be regarded as a truly successful break, you do need to have the position, but look at this. Two just flicked in the corner.
Well, he's not going to be jumping for joy, because now he's just tied up. I believe that's the 4 ball with the 7. Wouldn't be surprised if he tries to break it up somehow. Just like this.
Yeah, that's what he's tried to do. It's a valiant effort, but what a tough shot that was, Ted.
I like the way he plays. You know, he's real daring, and he just goes for these kind of shots.
Well, you called it at the start of the match. You said he goes for shots that other players wouldn't.
Well, when he won the World Cup of Pool with Ko Pin Yi, he was pulling off one shot after the next, just like that. And people were just applauding at his daring efforts.
He can do the tactical safety side as well, as he just showed there.
Yeah, he's the whole package. He's one of the best there is.
Jeffrey Ignacio had to go to the loser's side, so he's played 8 matches to get to this single elimination phase.
Jump cue. Well, he'll be okay with that.
Seen more tactical play and 2.5 racks, Ted, than we've seen over the course of some entire matches in this US Open.
Well, at times it's fun to watch the tactical game, because it takes a lot of creativity to pull off some safeties, and a lot of creativity to get out of them. Well, that will be on in the bottom right corner pocket.
Passed up his chance to win the previous rack, which would have put him 2-0 in front. But he should be fine from here. He's ideal on the 6.
Chang started playing pool at 14 years old. He's 37 now. Oh,
ooh. Well, he had a nervous moment there.
Wiped its feet. Going in.
Shows again you can take nothing for granted, even with players this good. And it's been, at times, quite a cagey start. But the upshot of it all is that Chang Yu-Lung leads Jeffrey Ignacio by 2 racks to 1. Welcome back. Chang Yu-Lung of Taipei leads Jeffrey Ignacio of the Philippines in the early stages of this last 16 encounter at the US Open. 2 racks to 1 in front. Now he's had 2 break-offs already in this match, and he's come up dry both times. Third time lucky? Yes.
There's a ball down. The 1 goes down, and he will have a shot on the 2. The 1 and the 7 are down.
He only lost 1 rack in his first 2 matches. Beat Arne Peterson of Iceland and Luri Teng, his compatriot, 11-0 and 11-1 respectively. So that was 22 racks out of the 23 he played in his first 2 matches. But it got harder against Dennis Grabe of Estonia, 11-8. Then Aloysius Yap, who we saw involved in that amazing match earlier that he just lost to Alex Pagulayan. Well, Chang Yu-Lung saw him off 11-5. And then in the winners' qualification round, he beat Imran Majid 11-9. Majid, who of course we also saw in a dramatic match earlier against Jeffrey De Luna. Just look at some of the countries there, Ted. Iceland, Estonia. We had nearly 50 different nationalities in the field here. It's by far the most international of all the Q sports in that sense.
Yeah, there are players literally all over the world play this sport. And ever since I've been covering pool, I've just seen every year the competition gets stiffer, better. There's more players, younger players coming through. It is truly amazing where they all come from and how good they are. So that's why people say this year 256 players entered this event. And ask anybody who's covered this sport for a long time and they'll tell you the best field ever assembled.
Well, that's the first break and run out we've seen in the match. And it gives Chang Yu-Lung a bit of breathing space at 3-1. This was a fine shot, really. Lots of spin on that, using a couple of rails. And once he'd done that, really, there was no looking back.
Well, he certainly is fun to watch when he's on, and he has been undefeated here this week. So we already know Chang Yu-Lung is on his game. And there you see, it'll be Joshua Filler taking on Francisco Sanchez Ruiz of Spain. Jeffrey De Luna will take on Alex Pagulayan. I know Alex flies the Canadian flag, but he is a Filipino. So that's an all-Filipino affair. And then Lu Hai Tao, with that great comeback win, will be taking on the winner of this match. And there you see tomorrow's last 2 round of 16 matches. Shui Jian taking on Wang Kan, and Shane Van Boning versus Wu Cha-Ching.
Mr. Chang is
Yeah,
breaking.
they'll be this morning. The two quarterfinals that we saw there that we know the lineup for, they'll be tomorrow afternoon, and then the two remaining quarterfinals tomorrow night. So it's going to be a long enough day for the players who come through the last 16 matches in the morning. But look how close he was to scratching there, coming off both jaws of that side pocket.
And unfortunately for him,
he's angled on the one.
I don't think he can see it because the cue ball appears to be too far inside that pocket to get to the one.
Yeah, there you see it there.
Push out.
That's the snooker term, angled, Ted. Is there a different particular term for that in 9-ball? This situation here?
In the pocket? Like this, in the pocket?
That'll do. Yeah.
Good question. Don't think so. Well, I think there is a term for stuck in the jaws.
Well, maybe we'll borrow the snooker term for now.
Ignacio, your choice?
Angled.
Angled, yes. When the angle of the pocket is blocking the cue ball from hitting or being hit where you want it to go. See, we're educating each other here in our respective terminologies, Ted. It's a transatlantic terminology exchange.
Yeah, that's very good. Thank you for that. I could think of some words that he's probably thinking, but I don't think we can say them on a family channel. Wow, that was some shot. We'll have to get another look at that. That was.
Yeah, I think we're going to see that again now. We might wait and see him attempt the two first.
Well, he took it on because he did not take it on because there was no positional value for the three.
Let's have a look at the one again.
Nice soft touch there. But you can see the 3-ball back down table married up against the 4, so he decided to play safe because even potting that 2-ball wouldn't have gotten him anything to do for the 3. So he'll leave that to Jeffrey. Got away with it.
Yeah, that side pocket jaw intervening again. It's playing a starring role in this rack.
He's going to like that.
It's only 3-1. It's not a massive lead yet, but it's one of those situations if Chang Yulong gets much further ahead, and then Ignacio's really up against it, because we've seen often throughout this US Open already how important momentum can be, particularly in the winner's break or winner breaks format. Yeah, it was nice and easy there, really, to roll in behind the 3 and the 4.
Yep. Natural wall of balls. And he does a nice job of getting that cue ball up against that, I think is the 3. So, of course, the closer you are to that ball, like he is with the 3, limits the angles in which your opponent can get out.
Good, sir. Extension, please.
Well, no surprise to see him taking the extension. Got to take care with this. He knows if he gets it wrong, could be handing the rack away.
Foul, no contact. Hold the clock, please.
Still, the 3 is in a funny position. It is lined up with the 9.
Start the clock, please.
Yeah, that's just a sitting target, really, for a 3-9 combination.
But it does go into the other pocket. And that's where he's going to take it.
Quite a bit of distance between the 3 and the 9, so it would have been a risky combination to play, and that's why, as you say, Ted, he took the direct route. And he remains a big favourite for this rack anyway.
Yeah, Chang looks the looser of the 2. Ignacio seems a bit tight. Maybe he's nervous. And that difference is reflected in the scoreline right here.
Yeah, I think that bears out what you're saying, Ted. And I agree. I thought they both looked a bit intense early on, but no doubt about it, Chang Yu-Lung has settled into the match better. There's a more composed demeanor about him.
He's so fluid. He's really fun to watch. Because he seems to play without fear. So Chang Yu-Lung now 4-1 up.
And growing in strength, really, as the match goes on. Ignacio can't afford to let him get much further in front.
Well, I think Jeffrey Ignacio just stood up and was interested in taking a bathroom break. But that's not that time of the match yet, so referee John Lehman said, no, not yet. Sometimes players will do that, especially when they're losing or they've lost a few in a row. They want to head to the men's room in order to sort of break the vibe, change the vibe in the room. And actually, sometimes it works.
Yeah, just removing yourself from the intensity of that environment for a moment can often improve your mindset.
Yeah, I don't think Jeffrey's very comfortable. It doesn't look like he's having too much fun out here right now.
Rack number 6. Current score is 4-1, Mr. Chang. Mr. Chang is breaking.
And the longer the match continues in this vein, the less fun it's going to be for him.
Couple balls down. And a nice, juicy shot on the 1. Well, Jeffrey may have to get comfortable.
I think he might as well have gone to the bathroom for this rack. He might not be getting to the table in it anyway.
That's a good call, Michael.
Although, well, he's okay on the 3. It's not ideal, but I think he'll be fine. He knows his way around a US Open, He was 7th back in 2016.
Boy, that is some shot. What a recovery. And back in position. Oftentimes in pool, you see guys, when they lose position like that, they might be able to make the next shot, but they continue to be out of position, and eventually it leads to a failure and giving up the table. But that was a nice job of getting back into shape.
Yeah, what tends to happen is not only do you stay out of position, but you tend to fall further and further out of position. But not a bit of it there. He's right back in prime location straight away. And this is looking like 5-1 coming up here. This match is in danger of passing Jeffrey Ignacio by. So he's really starting to hit a stride now, playing some good stuff. And this is going to be his 4th rack in a row. He's got that cue ball under control. And so far, he's got this match under control. Chang Yulong leads Jeffrey Ignacio by 5 racks to 1. He's already almost halfway to victory and a place in the last 8 of the US Open. Welcome back to the US Open 9 ball at Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas. It's at the last 16 stage, playing for a place in the quarterfinals, and Chang Yulong very much in control here. He's won 4 racks in a row against Jeffrey Ignacio, and he's now 5-1 up.
Rack number 7. Current score is 5-1, Mr. Chang, and Mr. Chang is breaking.
Chang Yulong very much settled in here in the match, looking very comfortable and loose. And Jeffrey Ignacio, well, he's the exact opposite. He is looking extremely tight, a bit nervous, and he tried to shake off those negative vibes by during the break. He left the arena, headed to the men's room.
All the talk has been about Shane Van Boening, Jason Shaw, Joshua Filler now. But I know you firmly believe, Ted, and I agree with you, this man is eminently capable of winning this US Open on Friday.
Well, anybody who's won the China Open 2 times, he won the World Cup of Pool, he's been in the semifinals of the World 9-Ball Championship. He's one of the best players in the world, and he is a former #1 player in the world.
Bidding to become the 2nd player from Taipei to win the title. Kevin Cheng back in 2015 was the first.
And he is set up here to keep the racks rolling.
This could be his 3rd break and run out in the last 4. For got so many top players from Taipei, and indeed so many players have actually reached the very top. Quite a number of them have been ranked #1 at various stages, Ted.
Now look at this. He's a little too straight to use an angle, so he uses the backspin to get all the way down table. He's not afraid to play a power shot like that. Man, he is playing himself into a very confident match right here. Meanwhile, Jeffrey Ignacio is almost a forgotten part of this match.
Yeah, he's got good cue power, and it's controlled cue power, which is very effective. Oh, that was in danger of finishing a bit unpleasant, but he's fine.
Maybe a little further than he wanted, but if you've been watching this match for the last 30 minutes, you know that this is nothing for this guy.
It's a one-way street at the moment. 5 in a row, and back-to-back run-outs from the break. 6-1, Chang Yu-Long leads.
You know, we had 4 Taiwanese in this final 16, and this was this great shot on the 6 in which he was too straight in to play an ordinary shot down table, so he had to juice it back, and look at that, with absolutely perfect position. So we're going to say now, obviously the Taiwanese players could arguably be said to be the best in the world overall, with the best players coming out of Taiwan overall. Now, all right, we'll get to that in just a second.
Yeah, we're going to have a trivia question about that in a moment, but this is obviously a fantastic matchroom creation, this New Look US Open, and here's another one, the Weber Cup. Fine event of 10-pin bowling, and it's going to be at Mandalay Bay as well here in Las Vegas from June 18th to 21st. So that's one to look out for over the summer.
Okay, so Chang Yu-Long, I said it earlier, if you were listening, that was a former #1. There have been 4 other Taiwanese players who have been WPA World #1. I'll give you a rack to think about it. Who were they?
Chang is leading 6-1, and Mr. Chang is breaking.
And I'll tell you later.
As they say, don't phone in, it's just for fun.
I'm not giving my number out.
Well, this could change things a bit. He's come up dry for the 3rd time already in this match. And he's left the 1 sitting right over the pocket there. So this is what Ignacio needs now. He's not been enjoying this match, as you said, and it's been in danger of passing him by. He's got his opportunity here to turn it round. How can he respond after spending so much time in his chair? He's looking at this with a bit of concern, though.
When he needs it to go, he would have liked to... I'm not sure if that passes into the corner. It definitely goes into the side. Hard to tell from that angle. He's fidgeting around. It doesn't appear that it goes into the corner. It's a tough call from here.
Attention, please.
Can't really see.
When you're struggling, things go against you. You just don't get those few extra inches of run you're looking for. The little nudges that you want.
Well, that was a nice shot, but look out.
He's
gonna
scratched.
Scratch. Oh, that's really unfortunate.
Hold the clock, please.
That was a very aggressive play, and hats off to him for playing it, but the
Start
scratch,
the clock, please.
wow, that could really spell doom.
Oh, yeah, I mean, we were saying he wasn't in a great frame of mind as it was. Now he's really going to be feeling that the pool gods are against him.
Yeah. An aggressive play that turned against him at the last second. Too bad for Jeffrey Ignacio. Be nice to see him give it a run, but that's going to be very demoralizing.
It was like he was trying to underline what I was saying about how when you're struggling, you don't get the run of the ball. You know, we've basically been going non-stop for 8 hours now. There was a bit of a gap after the morning session, but because the matches have been so close, there was no gap between the afternoon and evening sessions, and it's really just been relentless drama throughout that time. 11-9, 11-10, 11-9. But this is a totally different state of affairs. Ignacio really must be starting to fear the worst now. When it got to 4-1, 5-1, still plenty of hope. And what's really going to be hard to take here is that he did get his chance, but things just didn't fall his way. He had a bit of misfortune in the end to scratch. Chang Long makes it 6 on the bounce.
Okay,
7-1.
Should we reveal our answers?
Oh, in the end, people didn't get much time to think about it because the rack didn't take that long. But yeah, let's go ahead.
Okay, so there have been 5 Taiwanese former WPA world number ones, and this was the shot right here from Ignacio. He would have had a very long shot anyway on the 3, but it was a nice aggressive play. Unfortunately, he scratched. So, who are the 5 WPA world number ones that came from Taiwan? Well, I told you the one, Chang Long. You're looking at him on your left there. The other one, Kevin Chang, who won the 2015 U.S. Open. Ko Pin Yi, the former world 9-ball champion who was in this event. Chang Jung Lin, of course. And I think that was just in about 2017. He was the world number 1. And the last one, got to go back in time a little bit. And if you watch the old World Pool Championships that Matchroom promoted, the last multi-table events, you would know. Fong Pang Chow, the cold-faced killer.
He's a player who was around in sort of the early days, really, of these Matchroom events around the globe.
He was fantastic, Fong Pang Chow. And he really had this stone face, and he looked like a stone-cold killer. And he was on the table.
What Sheikh like Chang Long is being at the moment. It's funny, you know, he's 7-1 up, but he hasn't broken that well overall. And that was perhaps his best break yet. He's got a ball down, easy one, guaranteed position on the 2. You mentioned Ko Pin Yi there, Ted. He, of course, teamed up with Chang Long to win the 2015 World Cup for Taipei in London. Beat Estonia, then Poland, then Austria. They then beat the number 1 seeds, England, Darren Appleton and our friend and colleague, Carl Boyes. Then they beat the England B team in the final. It was a close one, 10-8. Saw off Mark Gray and Darryl Peach. And in defence of the title the following year, they put up a good show in their bid to retain it. Got to the semi-finals, but their run was eventually ended by a very strong US pairing of Shane Van Boening and Skylar Woodward.
Well, you are. Consider yourself privileged to be watching one of the best.
It's generally been the tone of the match. If he has a good break, he runs out from it. He's had 3 dry breaks, but most of the time, if he's potted something off the break and had a shape, it's been effectively rack over. And that tight, cagey start seems a distant memory now. Chang Yu-long looks like he wants an early night. He's only 3 racks away from the quarterfinals. He leads a disconsolate-looking Jeffrey Ignacio by 8 racks to 1. Welcome back to the last 16 of the US Open at the Mandalay Bay Resort, Casino and Convention Center in Las Vegas. Well, we may not be too far away now from the end of what's been a very long day. Several really close and dramatic finishes. But this is not looking like being won at the moment because Chang Yu-long leads Jeffrey Ignacio 8-1, and he only needs another 3 to claim a place in the last 8.
Well, it may not be a great battle between 2 stars of pool, but it is a pleasure to watch Chang Yu-long do his thing. He is some player.
And the ominous thing here is that it's pretty much been the story that whenever he's potted something off the break and had a shape at the next ball, he's gone on to win the rack from there.
Did a nice job there developing that 3 ball, which is his next object ball. He's going to come all the way down for, he's going to find a space in the middle of the table for the 4. And he's going to bring it back up table for the 5. And then back down for the 6. So he's got plenty of room to maneuver that cue ball.
All the players who made it this far to the last 16, single elimination stage, guaranteed $3,500, and it goes up quickly after that. Whoever wins this will be guaranteed then a minimum of $6,250. And from then on, you're more or less doubling your money. $12,000 for the semi-finalists, goes up to $25,000 for the runner-up, and $50,000 for the winner on Friday. But that's somewhere in the distance, and in the here and now, he's not played that ideally, Ted.
Yeah, he overhit that.
Extension, please.
And given where the 6 is, it was more important than ever to be in a good position on this. Oh, well. What he was trying to do, he did manage to do. Trouble was, he scratched at the same time.
Well, you get an idea into the thinking of Chang Yulong. That was a pretty clever effort there. Unfortunately for him, it didn't work because he scratched. But look at that. He was on track to get it in position for the 6-ball.
Would have been one of the shots of the tournament if he'd managed to pull it off, and he wasn't far away. But surely now Ignacio is going to snap Chang Yulong's long streak. Ignacio has lost the last 7 racks.
Well, he can't be thinking about the bigger picture right now. It's just one shot at a time. Just get in a rhythm.
Yeah, don't be thinking about winning the match. Just think about staying in it. Okay, well, that's a foothold for him. Still a long, long way behind, though. It's 8-2 now to Chang Yulong. As we were saying, he's played a lot of matches to get here. Had a couple of fairly comfortable wins.
Well, he lost to Shu Kai Lun, who just lost to Lu Hai Tao earlier. Look at that. That is a lot of 9-ball pool at the professional level.
Yeah, if you get beaten early on the winner's side, it's a hell of a long road then to come through the loser's side.
Oh,
so
yeah.
5 wins he got there. But we've seen players in the past come through the loser's side and end up winning the US Open, so it can be done.
Mika Immonen did it.
Yeah.
He lost his first match, and that was back when the US Open was double elimination the entire way, not just down to the final 16. He won 12 straight matches to win the US Open.
Mika Immonen, back-to-back winner. Haven't been many of those down the years. This is that extraordinary shot that, as I was saying, would have been one of the shots of the tournament if it had worked out. And just unfortunate that he scratched at the same time. Otherwise, it probably would have been 9-1. Instead of which, just the slightest glimmer of hope for Ignacio.
Well, nothing goes down. More misery for the Filipino.
It's only the second break-off shot he's played in the match. Neither of them has gone particularly well. He did pop the one ball off the other one, but didn't get a shape. And the way Chang Yulong has been eating up this sort of chance throughout the match, Ignacio's attempted comeback could prove to be a very brief one. We've seen players come back from positions like this before, Ted. Of course we have, and we will again. Problem is, Ignacio just doesn't look like he believes he can turn it round. He seems entirely devoid of confidence.
That's correct. And so much of this game is happens between your ears. That was a nice shot. Could have gotten a few applause for that. Brought it right around the 6-ball.
Well, the crowd are probably tired at the end of a long day. Don't have the energy to clap anymore, Ted. But what a day they've seen. Fantastic matches and some great performances earlier. Jason Shaw and Francisco Sanchez Ruiz both winning their matches comfortably. That's not gone to plan, though.
Now, if he's going to try this, he's going to have to reach for it, too. And he's going to lean, like, almost lay down on top of the table. You have to have one foot on the ground, of course. Oh, when he got the 9. Oh,
can you
no.
believe that? When it's your day, it's really your day. And a complete fluke, he knocks the 9 ball in.
I mean, he was about to give up the table. He missed that ball. And he apologizes to Jeffrey Ignacio, who gives a knowing grin.
Well, the funny thing is, I think that's the only time we've seen Ignacio smile in the whole match.
That's almost impossible. But it did happen. He misses the 5, and look at him. He's almost embarrassed.
I'll tell you what, Ted, after the match, you and I will go to the practice table in the players' room. We'll give each other 1,000 goes at that. And if
actually, Carl Boyes is going to teach us how to do that.
Well, that's just remarkable.
He's a lot better than this, Jeffrey Ignacio. It's just one of those things.
12.
It's
Current
not
score is
his
9-2, Mr.
day.
Chang. Mr. Chang
Just
is
never got
breaking.
started in the match. That's the thing. He didn't look confident or comfortable right from the very beginning.
Well, he does not have as much experience on the big-time TV table as Chang Yulong. And that really makes a difference when you're talking about an event of the magnitude of the U.S. Open. I mean, this event's been going on for over 40 years. Talk to anyone in the pool world. This is the one event they want to win. Yeah, the World Championship is good, but the U.S. Open always attracts the best field in pool. So when you come out here on this TV table, it's a completely different environment. It's going to be, it's going to take something special to win this.
Oh, and a length of the table, bank shot.
I think we're just gonna sit back and enjoy this for the rest of the way, because he's feeling it. When this guy is hot, there's really not many players who can reach his level of excitement.
He's showing us the full range of shots. This would be his 5th break and run out of the match if he completes it. If he does win the match, it'll mean our 6 winners today will be from 6 different countries. That was the shot that really opened things up for him. It's just the best feeling, isn't it, Ted, when you get into this zone where everything's going your way. You feel confident about every shot. Just the best feeling in the world, and you just want to stay out there all night.
And he knows his opponent didn't show up, so there's no pressure. I feel bad for Jeffrey, because I hope this loss, he's certainly headed for a loss. It's going to take a miracle to come back, and we don't see it in the cards, but I hope it doesn't have any long-term effect as far as his ability to play on TV table, because he is super talented. He is certainly one of the... Whoa, look out.
Ooh. How has that not gone down?
This guy... The pool gods are smiling down on him today, but that was a poor shot right there. Let's see him go after this, though.
Yeah, well, this is the bit of consolation for Ignacio. Okay, so the scratch didn't happen, but this isn't an absolute certainty, so there is a glimmer of hope. However, as you say, not a huge amount of pressure on Chang Yulong. He's got a very big lead against an opponent who's clearly feeling out of sorts. But even with a lack of pressure, this is still a test. But it's a test he's passed. Chang Yulong is on the hill. He leads Jeffrey Ignacio by 10 racks to 2 and is one away from the quarterfinal. Welcome back to the US Open for what looked like being the final moments of a memorable and eventful day here. Chang Yulong leads Jeffrey Ignacio 10-2 in the last of our last 16 matches today. He's on the hill, just needs one more. Well, the 5 is down, but has he got the shape on the 1 here?
Does not appear that he does.
We'll get a better look here. Touch and go, isn't it?
Hard to see from that angle.
Yeah.
He might, actually.
Yeah. Bit of work to do to get on the 2, even if he does have the shape on the 1.
Well, he's getting down on it like it does go.
I think this goes, yeah.
For the 2.
Wow.
Oh, no, you're kidding.
Surely this isn't going to happen.
No, you're kidding.
No way.
That would have been too much.
Well,
too much to ask.
Yeah, the same gravity that kept the cue ball out of the side pocket at the end of the previous rack has denied him this time.
Watch this. The cue ball comes back across table and very nearly nudges that 1 into the pocket. That would have been rubbing salt in a very open wound of Jeffrey Ignacio.
Well, it looked as if any contact at all when the cue ball was coming back towards it was bound to knock it in, but it nudged it and it still didn't drop.
Well, Jeffrey can freewheel it here. What we mean by that,
he's got nothing to lose, basically.
That's it. No pressure. So just like you're at the pool hall, banging balls. And sometimes you see in a winner breaks format when guys adopt that mentality, the freewheeling style, that they can somehow play their way back in it.
It's a shame he wasn't like that at the start of the match, because he looked to be putting a huge amount of pressure on himself and wasn't enjoying it, as you said. Well, this is really freewheeling now. It's like watching some of the shots Tom Cruise played in The Color of Money.
Yeah, you'll see a lot of Filipinos doing that. Well, this is... he should get this.
Yeah, nice to see him get another one. He's not had the best of luck in this match. He's not helped himself at times, but the run of the ball has conspired against him on a few occasions. So that makes it look a little bit better. But if that 1 had dropped, Ted, I think we can both agree it probably would be all over by now. So I think he'd played the positional side of it quite well and would have been on the 2. There it is. Yeah, he'd come across for the 2, but just forgot to pot the 1.
So can Jeffrey Ignacio catch a gear, put a package on Chang Yulong, apply
Rack
some heat?
14, current score is 10.
To be honest, you would have to
Mr. Chang, Mr. Ignacio
get the score
breaking.
to about 10-7 before Chang would really start to feel some pressure. There's a ball down.
Yeah, the 3 is in.
And he's got a shot on the 1.
Well, the longer he can maintain that nothing to lose attitude, the more chance he'll have of getting himself back into this. Playing in the US Open. It's a big deal, it's a big experience. If nothing else, he'll want to prolong it as long as possible. Oh, but that's not going to help. That's quite poor, I think you'd have to say.
Yep, you can't sugarcoat that. Well, it turns out, Michael, he was not freewheeling it. He was very careless with that.
Yeah, now he's got a look of resignation on his face. He's not beaten yet, of course, but it's a definite chance now for Chang Yulong to close out this match. A match which looked early on like it was going to be a long, close affair. But has turned out to be anything but. When you look at this performance from Chang Yulong, Ted, how close is that to how well you feel someone is going to have to play to win this tournament?
That's it. This is a performance not quite as breathtaking as Joshua Filler, but it's up there. It's one of the better ones we've seen. And if you look back at his campaign so far in the double elimination stage, Chang Yulong was undefeated, and he's been playing very well. When this guy is on, he is clearly one of the best in the world. He's the only 2-time China Open champion, former world number 1.
I think there'll be better days ahead for Jeffrey Ignacio. And there's still a prospect here now that this day could continue a little longer for him, because he's slightly overrun on this 7, has Chang Yulong.
It is a cruel and lonely sport at times, Michael. It's as all cue sports are. You're out there by yourself and very much exposed to the world, and it's easy to criticize these guys, from the the armchair experts, the keyboard warriors.
Well, this is over now. He's come slightly the wrong side of the 8 ball, but it's not a problem for him. So Chang Yulong has been dominant. He's got stronger and stronger as it's gone on. He's beaten Jeffrey Ignacio by 11 racks to 3. It's the most comfortable win we've seen all day, and it takes him into a US Open quarterfinal tomorrow against Lu Haitao. So we've seen a variety of matches today. We've seen 3 runaways, really, and 3 very tight finishes. 1 hill-hill match. That was it, the last shot of a long and memorable day. So the last 16 round not over yet. We still haven't seen Shane Van Boening, the only American who made it to the 16-man single elimination stage. But we will see him tomorrow. That's what we've seen today. Great performance from Joshua Filler, knocking out the defending champion Jason Shaw from Glasgow. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz through comfortably as well. Then dramatic wins for Jeffrey De Luna, Alex Pagulayan in the match of the day, and Lu Haitao. And then Chang Yulong, an 11-3 winner we've just seen against Jeffrey Ignacio.